It's really cute stuff.
Should we start? Should we start the episode, or should we just?
Oh no, it's not.
Let's keep watching.
No, for us. No, it can't be for us.
It can't be for us.
Are you ready to roll? Oh, we need to turn the heater off, don't we? I'll turn the heater off. Hold on.
Lucy's like,
I'm gonna shit up. Maybe I should.
I'm gonna keep this jacket on. I'm sorry.
Okay, we're rolling. I'm just going to kickstart.
Oh, we actually are rolling. Crikey, we've been rolling for 1 minute.
Yeah, that's how we do it. And I'm going to kickstart the episode with I just want to play the kind of voice notes that I get from Igor here.
No.
Here we go. Are you ready?
Look at my body. Boy, look at my body. Boy, look at my body. I'm so hot. You got me.
That's the kind of relationship we have, isn't it? Eh? Every time
there is context with them.
Every time I ring Igor, he sings to me down the phone, and I think two things: like one, this is weird, and two, what must his wife think when she's hearing him in like a side room?
Thank God
singing.
he's texting you and not her.
Yeah. We've got that kind of relationship, though.
Yes, we do.
You know, it's
yes,
fine. It's fine.
We do.
Welcome to another idea.
Podcast
Igor.
for creatives and entrepreneurs.
We're not getting any slicker at doing these intros, are we?
No.
But it doesn't matter. It's great. If you're here for the first time, welcome aboard. It's great to have you. If you're here and you've been here before, great to have you back. We're a podcast for creatives, self-employed, entrepreneurs, wherever you might be, looking to just level up their businesses.
Yeah, that's it. So if this is your first time, as we said, massive welcome. And yeah, do your clickety thing.
Do your clickety sharey thingy.
Yeah, please share, please subscribe. Blah, blah, blah. And yeah, we're ready to roll in.
Yeah.
Are we ready to roll in?
I'm excited today.
Yes, I'm excited. Literally, me and Sam were prepping yesterday and the day before, and we were like, yes, we've got this. We've got this.
Well, I called you yesterday, and you went, I've got so many questions. I've got so many questions for Lucy, to the point where I was like, I haven't got any. I'll just let you. I'll let you
just
take
gonna
it.
chat and
see where it goes.
happens.
So Lucy White is in the building today.
Yeah, from Wiskow White.
Hello.
Hello, Lucy. You're going to need to sit way closer than that.
Yes,
To lean in.
yes.
Hello.
That's it. Yes, much better. We haven't even done a mic test. Do you want to just do a 2-2-2?
2-2-2.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I like it. Nice. Welcome to Barbados, as it's not as commonly known.
Yeah,
I'm getting to know it.
It's not as glamorous as Italy.
It's certainly not as warm as Italy at the moment, is it? In here.
No, Italy's got cold now, finally, which makes it a bit more manageable being back in England. But it's pretty chilly here today.
Where do we start?
Can I start?
Yeah.
Yeah. Look at that.
Look at me.
I'm going to move your microphone. It just needs to be like that, right?
That little message intro gave me a really good insight into things, and I feel like it perfectly leads on to a little card that I've got you both.
Oh, look at that. Interest to both of us. So it's like a happy day.
Yeah. So it's
first guest to bring us a card.
Well, this time exactly 1 year ago, I came here, and another idea was literally an idea on a board, and you guys had spent the whole day scribbling about it, and you've done it.
We had, yeah.
It's been a year.
I think 10th of December was the first recording we did.
Yeah.
This was official Scribble Day anniversary.
Yeah. Amazing. The most iconic couple.
That's what the card says. To the most iconic couple I know. How great is that?
Oh, thank you so much,
Thank you.
Honestly,
You're amazing.
Just for a bit of background and context, we've been talking, haven't we, for a good few years now through meeting at Josh and Elsa's wedding, and just I think there's like just a mutual respect and connection there about business and running a business, and I think you're my kind of like sort of soundboarding person that I go to when I'm doubting myself or worried, or I've got an idea, as well as you, Igor. Don't worry, it's not
okay.
just
I'm not jealous,
Lucy.
I'll get jealous.
I'll never get jealous anyway.
You just think you could have been sat here instead of Igor, because we started doing
we need to stop this conversation.
Yeah.
I was too busy.
You were too busy. We started doing like a little Instagram live thing, didn't we?
Yeah.
Like in 2020.
Yeah, loads of ideas. Well, it's just another idea. There's so many ideas and so many routes.
And fast forward a couple of years, and here we are, 30 or so episodes into another idea, and you are now an official guest on the podcast, but you're always going to be. I think you were one of the very early people we reached out to. You've just been so busy over the summer, we haven't really had to pin you down for a date.
Sure, thanks,
but here
guys.
You are.
Thanks.
Here you are.
Very happy to be here.
So, just tell us a little bit about you. Just
who is dreaded
Lucy?
question.
Yeah, who is Wiskow White, and what do you do? And
Okay, well, what I do is easy. I plan weddings in Italy, so that's an easy one to nail. So I run 2 businesses. One is called Wiskow White, which is a wedding planning business, and one is called La Lista, which is essentially a platform to help people plan their weddings in Italy. Probably talk about that more, but that's what I do. And this is a question I've had for myself, like how deep do I go and how quickly?
Go deep. We're not here for the shallow
Who is
stuff.
Lucy? Yeah. A question I've actually only recently discovered, which is, or I've answered. So I live in Dorking in Surrey, and I've grown up there. And over the last sort of 6 years, since Wiskow White became a thing in my life, I've made Italy a big part of my life. It's a big passion of mine to travel and explore and do new things, and that's why I sort of am motivated towards that and do that in my business.
Why Italy? What's the connection? How like at what point did you realise that Italy was going to be like the special place that it is to you?
I went on holiday there. One time I think we went for my husband's 30th, and it was my first trip there, and I really liked it.
Where'd you go?
We flew into Naples, and we drove down the coast, and we went to Sicily, and we had a really nice adventure. And we love to travel, so it was just another adventure. But then we went back there in 2013 for my husband's dad's 60th, Granddad Steve, and that was the first Tuscan trip. Loved Tuscany. And then I got engaged a week later in Italy. So it just had all these nice feelings and connections. And the more I've thought about it, because I think about things a lot, I've realised that I am just so happy in Italy. There's something about, maybe you'll resonate, like you land in Italy and something happens. Like it soaks away problems, and you just kind of feel really grounded. And it's kind of a bit like going back in time as well, in a way. It's simpler life, everything's beautiful. It's just very lovely and romantic.
Would you ever live there?
Yeah, that's my goal. I'm more and more brazen about that now. Yes, I'm just trying to convince my husband to do it. So it's in the nearer future maybe, to try and do that. So I think it's a happy accident, a very happy accident that I went there.
I love Italy. I think I was probably 32 before I went to 32, 33.
Yeah.
And like there is something just very special about it. You know, as a family, we always used to go to France every year without fail. And I love France. It's a beautiful country.
But it's not Italy.
But it's not Italy.
Yeah.
No.
And that's not to say I wouldn't go to France and have a great time. And I do still go there.
There's a special warmth
there is something
about
Italy.
It's the food. It's the people. My father-in-law is Italian, and we used to go there for family dues and stuff like that, and absolutely love it. I love the language.
There's just so much, isn't it? It's so rich, all the cultural things, like literally how people act, how they talk, the expression, like you can see it's becoming more and more part of me as well now, and it's all lovely. Obviously there's lots of things about working in Italy that aren't so lovely, but I think it's the history, because you walk around and you're back in time, because everything looks like it did hundreds of years ago, and there's something beautiful about that as well. I just love it.
Good food culture in Italy. That certainly trumps France for me as well. Like, as somebody who's vegetarian, like you can go to Italy and you are not short of choice. Whereas France, you're like,
they'll look at you in disgust.
What are you? I love Italy, and actually there's parts of Italy I've never been to that I'd love to explore. Obviously we went to Puglia, didn't we, for Josh and Elsa's, and
the weather.
I mean, the weather was foul, but even then it was still just a stunning location. And we've worked together in Tuscany as well, haven't we? And Tuscany is just a beautiful region. I think we worked together in Tuscany.
Yeah, we did. It rained then as well. I think you might be bad luck, actually. It's rained at both weddings you have
which
worked.
is unusual for me. Most of mine tend to be dead sunny.
Maybe I'm bad luck.
I don't know.
That is quite funny.
Yeah. No, I love Italy. So we're all in agreement there. That's good.
Yeah. In fact, my first wedding in Italy was with Wiskow White in brackets in some ways. So,
you worked with Danielle. I wasn't at that one.
Yeah.
But
which was quite incredible, really. incredible experience, really. So yeah.
That was an incredible venue.
Yeah.
Incredible, where Tom Cruise got married.
Ridiculous castle where, the Cruise got married there. But
before we get into like Italy weddings again and your current business, can we just rewind the clock a little bit?
That's exactly it.
Yeah. Should we do that? Should we crank it back? Oh, that's the sound that we needed. What when we were going through your bio, there was like just some things kept jumping out to us, and I suppose we just wanted to ask you about what it is that in your teens and early 20s kind of shaped you as into the businesswoman that you are now. Like what happened in your teens and 20s that
did this?
To put it eloquently.
Yeah, I mean, so I've had a lot of therapy, so I've had a lot of like thinking about all of these types of things. So I feel like maybe I'll articulate this well. But I think I've always had a job. So as long as I can remember, from when I was like 12, I've wanted to kind of work, and I don't think it was about money. I think it was just about doing and like exploring and trying things. And my first job was when I was a florist on a Saturday job, which I loved. And it kind of just showed me that I could kind of do anything, because I didn't have any experience. I just went and did this and learned how to do floristry. And school had always been, I know it's like a horrible, annoying thing to say, but it had been easy. School was easy and it was boring academically. I loved creative stuff, but I was kind of encouraged not to do it. I was encouraged to follow an academic route, and it's boring. But through work and business, I could maybe find that creative side.
Thou shalt not be creative. Jesus,
it is.
What is wrong with people?
It's like, our parents' generation.
Yeah.
It's not safe. You won't make money. How will you succeed? Oh, actually, it's all right. Yeah. But at the time, obviously, it scares them, and they project it on you, don't they? Yeah. So I set up a business actually to do with floristry, and just tried something new. So I did a lot of babysitting in the area that I lived in. There was we weren't rich, but there were lots of rich people around, and I loved to go in their houses and babysit. And I soon learned that they all had like flowers in every room of their house, and I was like, okay, I like flowers. So I said to a couple of them, I could just come in every week and swap your flowers over, and charge you this, and you can tell me the colours. And so I started doing that. I think I was
a hustler. What an absolute hustler.
Loved it. And because I love being in their lovely houses as well, and I'm really nosy. So I'd just go to Covent Garden Market, get the flowers, do them. And I was doing like 3 or 4 houses. And I was making, for a 16-year-old, I was like, this is good, making some money. Then I never followed it through, and now there's a company that do that, and it's really successful. I'm like, oh yeah, there was that. Let that one go.
You're the original lady.
I like to claim it, but that just taught me that basically my dad was wrong, and that you can just make stuff up and go and do it and try it and have fun and maybe make some money out of it as well. So that was always kind of there in the back of my mind. But then I kind of listened too much to the academic stuff, and I went to uni and blagged that, and then ended up in another whole career.
What did you study?
Geography.
Wow.
So I didn't know whether I wanted to go to uni, and I took a gap year, and I just decided that was something I enjoyed. So I was like, I'll do what I enjoy. If I have to go and study, do an enjoyable thing. And geography is actually quite creative, whether or not anyone believes me in it.
Yeah, we believe you.
It's interesting, and it is creative. And so I just went through that and blagged my way through. But while I was at uni, quite a significant thing happened in my family's life, and one of my brothers was really sick. And this is something that has shaped a lot of kind of my behaviours and how I've acted over the last sort of 10 plus years. So that was a significant moment that people would call it trauma. And I've kind of thought quite a lot about how that has shaped the beliefs that I have, and worked on those to help me, in my life, but also fundamentally build a much better business. Delve into that if we want to. But anyway, I went on and had a career in marketing for like 10 years. I worked at Oxfam and Sainsbury's and all these big brands, and just worked through various marketing jobs. Also quite creative, really, marketing, like making stuff up, pictures and things, see what it does. And then we ended up where we are.
Yeah.
So
You've said a lot there.
There's just so much, sorry.
No, it's good. It's good. And yeah, you did say a lot there. And I know sort of like where I want to go and where I want to unpick it.
Take it.
Let's say.
Take it there.
But I'm known for doing my deep dives. And with you, I did my deep dive. And wow. You're incredible. What
did you find? Did you Google the right person?
He was very excited about this yesterday to the point where
incredible. Yeah. I just find that sometimes it's just incredible to see people that do incredible things, and yeah, you are very interesting, and just the way you do life in general. But yeah, one of the first things that I sort of like saw was that you're quite prolific, or outspoken, or an encourager, let's say. About people that may have colitis or DCM, and then I did my sort of like deep dive in terms of like articles for the British Heart Foundation and stuff like that you have done. But just talk to us about it a little bit in terms of, yeah, you kind of like, you touch upon it a little bit, but yeah, I want to dig deeper a little bit in there. Go?
Yes, so I used to be so open about this, and was for a very long time. So I had a blog and everything where I talked a lot about my health conditions. You found the blog? Oh yes. It was a really, gosh. So how old was I? So when I was at uni, as I said, I was about 21. And I was in my second year. My brother, who was 18, had a stroke, and it was like a massive stroke. So he basically died a couple of times. He's alive now, he's fine. But lots happened, and he was kind of completely disabled, and he went on a really long journey to get better. And that was a complete shock to my whole family. And that is the kind of trauma that I speak of, because our family was just all kind of normal, everything's ticking along. Teenagers don't really talk to each other much, probably just punch each other when you walk past. And then one day, Jack's in hospital, this has happened. And so that changed me and my life, and it changed all of my family as well. So being at uni and that happening was quite a moment, and I had to kind of try and get through my third year of uni and my exams while Jack was kind of living in and out of different places trying to get better. And I don't really remember like 2 years of my life while this was kind of happening. So I don't know how the hell I passed anything, but I did. And I've lost where I was going with it.
No.
At this time, I had like really bad tummy problems, and I thought it was just stress of exams and things like that. But it turned out I had ulcerative colitis, which is basically a problem. It's called IBD. It's a bit like Crohn's, and it can cause...
It affects your intestines,
your intestines. So it's basically, they just don't really work properly anymore, and they have kind of ulcers and horrible things going on. But the main thing it can do is, it means you don't absorb your food properly. So like your nutrition and your energy can be really low, and you can... lots can happen. So it can make you quite unwell. I'm really lucky, and I've never got too unwell with it. But it was really nice to know this is a thing, and this is why I feel so bad with it, and I could start to manage it. And I've done, how many years has that been? How old am I? Like 15 years now. And on that whole 15-year journey, I've just like taught myself how I need to live my life to kind of be stable and okay. So it's to do with like nutrition and movement and stress, which in this job is interesting. But at the same time, I also found out I've got the heart condition that my brother has, or had. He doesn't have it anymore because he's had a heart transplant now.
That's incredible. Wow.
This is what caused his stroke. But the heart condition that he had that caused his stroke, I have, and no one else in my family has it. So there's been a lot of kind of acceptance around having that, and the fear of having that, and if the same thing's going to happen to me. I'm still nervous, but I think largely over it. And he's recovered, he's better, and we've kind of been through it and got over it. But there's a whole thing about when you've got something and you've been through something, sharing that knowledge and kind of trying to help other people feel better that might be suffering as well, or help them get better. So for a long time I had a blog, just trying to support other people that had colitis. And these have been other things that I've actually started and wanted to do. Never quite had the courage, so I even started a charity called Young Stroke Survivors. I've done all sorts of fundraising for all the different charities and things, but never quite fully got into it. But I think that's just because I don't really want to talk about it every single day. And I realised that as I talked about it a lot, and then I was like, maybe I can.
An all-consuming thing in some ways, is that what you mean?
Yeah, and when it's your actual, I think there's a way of, for a while it's like therapy and it's helping you get better because you're almost processing it as you're going through it, and you feel like you're helping people. I think that's what you see, obviously having worked in fundraising as well as some of the psychology, but people do fundraising because it makes them feel connected to the thing and it helps them process it, and then it tends to end, that relationship at some point ends. And maybe I just got to the point where I was like, I'm just fine having the stuff and I can just sort of, I'll talk about it whenever, but I don't need to do it all the time. I talk a lot, don't I?
I mean, Igor went straight in with that question that you didn't want to talk about, so that was great.
The fearful bit.
No, it's good. Yeah. I think just to touch on that point you just made there, I think there must be I don't know, 'cause I don't know much about that side, but I imagine there comes a point when you have to almost draw a line in the sand and just go, I need to just move on and live my life. And just, you've obviously accepted it, you manage it, it's fine, like you've done your bit, but also you also have a life to live, and you've got Ziggy, you've got a family. There's only so much you can do. So
and it kind of keeps you in the past as well. I think that was a period of life, and it was all linked to that big event, which was very traumatic.
It's a life upside down moment, isn't it?
And like, there's been a lot of learning, but I don't need to be there all the time, and maybe I've learned a lot of lessons, but it's one of those things, like we're all just kind of living out the things that have happened to us, aren't we? And eventually you kind of process some of it, or you realise how it's affecting you, and then you can change a bit or move on a bit, and it's just a bit of it's a horrible thing to say, but it's a bit of a journey. So it's been a long time, for a long time I felt like I was stuck there, like 21, 22, which was actually a nice feeling when you look in the mirror. Not so much. But I think that's why I said I'm finally found who I am, because I think in the last couple of years I genuinely have, like I'm now actual grown-up me, not trapped back there.
So who are you then? So who is Lucy? Sorry, Igor, we were both going there. Like what does I feel like we need to just let everybody know, like, what does Lucy do?
So Sam.
So, Igor.
Studio Ninja.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about our sponsor. And I was wondering about what we need to say in this little section, because I really want to talk about just how vital it is to my business. And one thing that came up recently was, in my own business, was that I was thinking about whether I need to get a VA on board. Like, do I need somebody that's going to help me just, perform some of the admin tasks? And when I looked at it, and it really boiled down to what do I need somebody on board for, I realised that I don't actually do much admin. And I don't do much admin purely because of Studio Ninja. Everything's automated. My invoices, my diary, my questionnaires that I send out,
email templates,
chasing up invoices. Everything's fully automated to the point where it doesn't take a huge amount of my time anyway. So it kind of defeats the whole point of a VA. So for me, it is a very integral part of my business. And I think when you're running a business, you're self-employed like we are, being efficient, being productive, making sure that things run in the right order. If you find yourself doing any kind of repeat task, you have to say to yourself, why am I repeating this?
Automate it.
And if you can automate it, then that's it. And that's really where Studio Ninja fits in with me and my business. And they have very kindly given us a discount code, haven't they, for this podcast? So what's that discount code, Igor?
Another idea.
And another idea gets you 50% off your first annual subscription. So it's just a no-brainer. I mean, I wouldn't even be hanging around. Just go and look at Studio Ninja.
Just go and do it right now.
But thank you very much, guys, for sponsoring this podcast. We love you. We appreciate you. Keep it up.
We love Studio Ninja.
I feel like we need to just let everybody know, like, what does Lucy do?
Day to day?
Well, just like, what's your business kind of portfolio looking like at the moment?
Okay. Well, so we have this kind of broad mission, which is to support people that are having Italian weddings, and it comes from my own pain point, which was I got married in Italy, and the experience at the start was not very good. I found it very hard to do. I was trying to do it myself, which you can do, but it's tricky. It was really hard to do. A lot of people told me a lot of kind of potentially false things. So you don't have the budget, you can't do this, you can't just go and make your flowers on your own, all these things. And then I found Danielle, who is the other half of Wiskow White, and she told me otherwise and showed me otherwise. So everything we do is born from, I know that people are told every day still that they can't have this wedding that they want, and that really pisses me off, because I know they can, and if they really want to have an Italian wedding, they should be able to, because it is possible in any way and on any budget. You just got to manage expectations. So we started Wiskow White to kind of just do it our way, and that's been like 6 or 7 years of planning Italian weddings, and that's what that business does, literally wedding planning, simple. And then COVID, sorry I've said it, but in 2020
it's within the questions.
It's all been a part of our businesses for a few years.
Yeah, it's been a thing. Mid that, I literally was driving to Italy. I remember approaching the Mont Blanc tunnel, seeing all the lovely mountains, and I was like, no, I want to do something bigger than this. We can only help this many couples with what we're doing, and it's time intensive, and it's a very set thing. Like, how do we do more? I want to do more, I want to see more. And I was like, we've got to set this other thing up, and it has to be a bit like a directory, because I want suppliers connected to it, and I want to show off how great suppliers are, because I think there's a myth around, how much suppliers care about your weddings and the cost of suppliers, and I wanted to kind of bust some of these myths, because I can see over here all these suppliers that are awesome and want to help people, and then I can see over here all these couples that are a bit stuck and just struggling, maybe don't trust these suppliers. How do I bring it all together and take away some of the shit that's in the Italian wedding industry, because there's a lot of shit and there's a lot of weird stuff that goes on. It's just it's a big mission, but slowly I want to bash that out the way, and it's going to get me in some fights, and it has got me in a bit of trouble, but that's what La Lista is. So it's about 18 months old now, my little baby, but that's for more people. That's for helping. Anyone can turn to La Lista to get advice, and it's free on the whole, and just support them in getting through the shit.
I can remember talking to you that summer when you'd had that idea, and you've got to go for this.
Yeah.
And it's been really nice just to see it kind of get off the ground.
Yeah.
And then for it to evolve, and it just looked like it's evolving a little bit.
It's got a lot of. It's just been the COVID years. I know that it's a great idea, and I believe in it so much, but we just haven't had the time to dedicate to it. So now, this summer, COVID weddings, everything's kind of clear. We've got some time, and we can focus on it, and that's exciting.
What are your sort of dreams for it? What are you kind of wanting to dream big and kind of let's go?
I think my number one goal is that any bride starting to plan an Italian wedding, the first place they look is La Lista.
Amazing.
not too small.
I don't see why they wouldn't. Genuinely,
no,
why they wouldn't.
Eventually it will be there. So we've got a lot of work to do, but I've got a great team ready to do it. I've got, in fact, one of them, Beth, who you shot Beth's wedding, is in my team.
Beth. Hey,
amazing. Hey Beth, legend, absolute. So 2 amazing marketing minds, and Emily, who I actually used to work with when I worked at Oxfam. When I was doing one job where I made TV ads, she was the media buyer, so we used to work together then, and it's all come back round. She's now in my team, so I've got these amazing brains. We're all gonna take it. This year is the year for La Lista. Well, next year, but we're almost in next year. 2023.
No, it's exciting. I'm buzzing to see where you take it. I think it's.
Do you know what
I think it's done really well already, but I'm with you in that it feels like there's still a lot of room for scale and growth there.
There's so much. It's a slow burner, and I've had to accept a lot, but also change the way that my brain thinks about marketing and strategy, because in my old job it was a very different thing, because I worked in massive companies and it was all done very differently, and the way I was almost trained to be a marketer was very different to how you actually apply it to 10 years later.
So what's changed then? So what did you used to do? How would you have seen that?
So it was mass marketing. So, our email database had 500,000 people on it, and it was very different, loads of different products.
Can we get some of those?
I know, I should have downloaded that. That's illegal. I wouldn't do that.
Put it on a USB stick, slide it on your desk.
Absolutely not. Data protection. But it was all about, it was just, acquisition, retention and engagement, same 3 things, but done on this mass scale, not very targeted really, and just so many different channels. And it was all very planned and rigid and, targets and just so metrics driven, which is great, and that still does apply to a small business. But I think what I've learned is with my small business, so Wiskow White, when it started, I thought, I was like, why aren't I doing marketing? Do I not like marketing anymore? Why am I avoiding it? But I realised what I needed to do was just sort of let the business show me what it needed. I didn't need to apply a strict plan and be like, this is the target audience I'm going to go after, these are the channels I'm going to use, these are goals I'm going to hit. It was more like, okay, so let's sort of be us, talk about what we do in a very authentic way and just see what happens a bit. And obviously that sounds really nice, but when you want to make money,
it's a lot harder.
It was fine then because it was my side job. I had my full-time job and this was just a fun learning thing. And I had nothing to lose. Now I have everything to lose because it is my only job and I pay people, and it's different, and that has sort of come with pressures, and it changes a little bit how you think about marketing. But as a kind of controlling person, an organised person, and with that marketing background, I've had to go, it's okay to just kind of let it go a bit and see what it does and then let it show you, so get the insights back. So with La Lista, I found it so hard to be like, it's a slow burner. You just got to put it out there and you've got to wait, and you're going to see what it does, who comes, what the couples are like, and then what they want from you, and then you give it back to them. Not, I want to make these products, I'm going to sell them to this person, this target audience who may not actually exist. So yeah, it's just being chill, which I find really hard. Really hard.
So how did it sort of like go? What was your experience like at those sort of like initial weddings that you were, where people were coming in, and what was it like?
So year one, it was pre-child. So I think we had one summer before I got pregnant. Planned it really badly, but only had like 3 weddings maybe, and it's the classic of one is a friend of a friend, and it was hard because I knew nothing. I knew nothing about weddings, and Danielle was basically like a mentor. So she, we knew when we started our business that we both had very different skills and experience. She was Italian weddings. She's literally done 1,000 or more. She knows how that works. I just didn't know. I'd only been to my own. And that actually had loads of mistakes, and it was, it wasn't the type of wedding that I'd organise now. I had the sales and marketing. I didn't know what on earth happened at an Italian wedding. So it was just kind of, she organised them really, and I just kind of watched this happen and went to some. And then, they went fine. I think if I went to one now, I'd probably be like, oh my gosh, this is so much I'd change. But at the time, it was perfect for who the audience were, who the people were, and what we were capable of. And I think that's the main, so important to know, like that managing of expectations. Who we were at the time and what we charged and what we delivered is very different to where we are now. And that's been a journey to learn to kind of, as we've learned and we've got experience and we've developed our product, it's worth more. And
how's your relationship with Danielle evolved over those years? Like, do you have kind of clear roles? Like, how do you kind of manage that relationship?
We were asked it today in the car by Lauren, and we find it so hard to answer because it's very intuitive. It's one of those weird, we met by a stroke of luck. So she was the place I wanted to get married was just a holiday villa, and she was introduced to me as the catering manager, who could maybe come and do some food at our wedding. And then she became our planner, and then she became my business partner. So I met her accidentally.
It's an incredible story. That alone is just a story, isn't it?
But the fact that I don't know, I do believe in fate and things, but the fact that I chose that villa, well, it's actually that Grandad Steve chose that villa because we went on holiday there. Grandad Steve chose that villa. The owner, Luciano, knew Danielle, and she came and did our wedding. And then the next day she came back and said, come and work with me. And I was, you're crazy, but I did it. So all of that happening so naturally, and then we just genuinely just fit together. So obviously sometimes she annoys me and I annoy her, but we're really just, it's just like respect, and also I think accountability. Like we both make mistakes, but we both admit it and we just crack on. Like we're both so clear on our sort of vision and purpose. We're just like...
Sounds like me and Sam without the respect.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
No, I'm joking.
You're gorgeous together. So we've just always sort of gone with our strengths. So I know that she's great at that and I'm great at that, and then it kind of changed a bit over the years as we've learned stuff, and I've maybe, because I've learned more about weddings, I've taken more away from her remit, because it was like everything, and built from seeing the weddings happen. We've built a really strong process, like a way of planning weddings, and we continue to refine that and change that, but that sort of dictates kind of who does what within each wedding, and really inefficiently we both work on all of them. So yeah, I don't think it's a good business model, but it works for us because we both can bring our different skills and strengths in, and we just sort
I think what's really stood out of just those couple of points there for me is this idea that you are very accepting of the fact that it's not going to be perfect from the start, or it's going to, but I suppose accepting of the fact it's going to evolve, and you're just going to let it guide you. That straight away is my big takeaway.
But that is not me either. Like, that's not me.
There's a lot of people either. I think a lot of people, when you go into a business, you have to
drive it. You have to drive it.
You have to have this business. You have to have this business plan. You have to have this strategy, this plan and approach. And anything that deviates off that means that it's not going right. But actually,
that's where the magic is.
You need to let it deviate. You need to let it meander.
Because that's listening. That's insight, and insight is everything. Yeah. And I am a plan and strategy person. Like, we have all the strategies, we have all the plans, but I'm ready to, much to the teams, like, they probably hate it, but I'm ready to tweak them. So yeah, I've made a plan, we've got a plan, but then something's happened. Okay, we'll tweak it a bit, or we'll go off here a little bit. We don't have to stick to it. If people are literally telling us something different, why on earth would we stick to this idea, unless you've got the insight to prove it? Yeah, so it's just listening.
Like refine over time, isn't it?
Yeah.
What's going through your mind?
I just wouldn't be able to let go like that. I need to kind of like have that plan and sort of like...
But do you think if you've got it there, like the vision, and then you've got your plan, but then you're like accepting that it could go like that, or it could go like that, so as long as you know that, then
you got to be able to be malleable to see where things are coming from and everything else.
So what's been the big change with Lalista? What have you seen, just to give us an example, where it started out to where it's kind of moving to? What have you seen as being that kind of that shift since you launched?
Think of a good example. I guess maybe not a shift, but somewhere I've had to let go more is the idea that Lalista was going to be like this. It was going to have a huge audience straight away, because I know it's really good. So I'm like, why not more people kind of engage with it? Why don't they know about it? It's amazing. So we've only got like 5,000 followers on Instagram. We've been going for like 18 months. Part of me is a bit like, that's a bit low. But not like, so many of those followers are really engaged, and actually that's the important metric. I thought it was, I need 10,000 followers, but actually it's that 90% of them want to book a supplier through Lalista, or have booked a supplier through Lalista, because that's where the value is. They trust us, and then they'll want to buy other products, or they will book a supplier, so our directory can grow nicely and neatly. So that kind of letting it teach me.
It's just reminding ourselves that one follower is a potential one customer.
Yeah,
we're all guilty of falling into the trap, aren't we? Of going, look at those people with 1.2 million followers. Oh, we're failing. But actually, like you say, it's about engagement and connection between those followers and your brand, isn't it?
And that's taught me so much. I'd rather have less people, and that's has been hard to accept genuinely. Like, I have to tell myself and my team all the time. I probably say it more than anyone. But I'm like, but they're really engaged, so it doesn't matter. They don't need to be 10,000, 20,000. They just need to be doing the things.
I'm sure it will be eventually. It's just.
I know it will. But yeah, it's working. So that, and also just how much couples want connection. So connection and community, how much they want connection with us, and in a way how easy it has been to kind of position yourself as an expert, because we all know more than we think we do, and once you start talking you realise, actually lots of people don't know this stuff, and they want to. So actually giving out, now I'm just not afraid of basically...
Well, I think you said to me recently, one of the big changes you made was about shifting away from this idea that you were going to charge people to be in that directory, to actually just putting them on the directory.
Just do it. and make it of value.
I think that was particularly the venues, wasn't it? I think the venues was
yeah,
a bit
that's
of a
true.
kind of
we started off
stumbling block, like trying to get them on board.
But my lesson there was, well, this is a whole other thing, but in Italy they charge commission. So when you book a venue, they give commission to planners. I don't always agree with that. It happens. So it was really hard to build a directory where venues pay to be on it, because they're already siphoning off money to the planner, and it gets all political. So, okay, we've got this model, I'm going to make this much money by having venues. That doesn't work. What are we going to do? Shift it, let go, suck it up, basically, because it's not going to bring in this money, and just start building this, putting venues on for free. But what did it do? It built so much value for the couples and the clients, and the value of La Lista is now so much more. So that taught me just service. The more we serve people and give them, the more, again, long-term game, and it is risky, but I think it's going to pay off.
You seem to be very much having your eye on the prize. You're not, even though you're kind of like, you're at the stage that you are, but you are looking into the future. You are very much like, I know where I'm going.
It's really weird. I know that it's going to be this thing, and I mean, get me on here in 2 years.
It's kind of scary. It's kind of like,
I know it. Yeah, and I like, it's weird as well. I know certain things about my life. Like I know where I'm going to live, and I can. It's weird, but I know. So I just have to. The deep knowing is there, and then it's just all the other stuff, like we talked about, like the trauma and stuff can make all these other noises, and you get all these other things in the way. But actually, if you just channel into it.
I'm sorry, Ben, you have no chance.
He's got no chance. I've seen the how.
Italy is on the horizon.
He'll have a great life. Or we'll break up. It's Italy or Ben.
Studio Ninja, Igor.
Here we go.
Yeah, I'm off again. But I just wanted to talk about one more thing, because I think, and I'm not here to criticise one of our sponsors, but I think they're missing a trick.
Ooh, shots fired. Tell us what you think.
It claims to be designed by photographers for photographers, which it is. It is designed by photographers for photographers. So I'm not arguing that. But it's not just for photographers.
That's it. So much
I just think it's for anybody that's in a service-based industry. This piece of software is invaluable. I've had friends that are MUAs, hairstylists, florists, stylists. You name it. I've had them all reach out, and I've given them sort of guidance and setting them up that have gone on to use Studio Ninja and like, this is invaluable for our business.
Yeah.
So if Studio Ninja are listening and watching this back, might want to think about who you're targeting it to, because actually I think they're missing a trick. I think there's a whole market out there that, you don't just need to be a photographer or a videographer in the wedding industry. If you are a service-based industry and you've got clients or couples, whoever they may be, and you need to book people in, you need to send them automated emails, invoices, the system and the software is there for anybody to use in whichever business they're operating in.
Yeah, get Studio Ninja.
There you go. So what's the discount code, Igor? You should know it by now, because I've told you a few times.
Let me see. I
wonder what it could be.
I'm guessing. I'm joking. It's another idea. It's that simple. So if you go to Studio Ninja, type in that at the checkout, and you'll get 50% off for the whole year, and you'll get the first month free.
You get the first month free, and then another idea gets 50% off their first annual subscription.
There we go.
There you go. Sorted.
Go get it. Oh, that's amazing. But yeah, speaking of Ben, during my research, I saw that it might still be happening, it might not. I don't know. You tell me how busy you are, because you seem to be someone that does a lot. But I sneaked up upon the White Creative.
I love it.
Tell me more about it.
Oh my gosh. The White Creative is Ben's design company. So Ben's a graphic designer, and he's been one for about 20 years. And when we probably started Wiskow White, he started doing designing of stationery. But Ben has a full-time job, and he has not kind of found a way to make it work alongside doing something on his own. And honestly, he probably wouldn't mind me saying, he hasn't had the confidence to kind of go for it, especially when obviously I work for myself. Having a stable job is a nice thing to do. So the White Creative, Ben is so talented, and he has made he makes amazing stationery. This summer we worked together on so many of our weddings. did almost break us, genuinely. Working together in like, imagine being in like, it's just us and our son. We've been in Italy for months. It's 40 degrees and like we've just both worked all day, and then we're there at night like planning, and we were just like, I could kill him sometimes, but he's amazing at what he does. And so what we're trying to do is build a business that works for him, so he can just do the design instead of all the other messy stuff. So we've just had that chat. Really sad. Saturday date night, we went and talked about how to make his business work, and that's the kind of life we lead. Isn't that cool?
No, it's really good to go through that, and to both be on the same page with it. And
we're getting there. Yeah. I don't know if he'll ever fully do it. Oh, and he wants to be a photographer. So, because anyone can be a photographer, can't they?
Yeah.
It's easy. So he's really good at that as well, and he's always talked about it.
He's creative.
He's very creative.
Photos. He could easily.
He just turn it into, his thing. But we'll see. I don't want to push him. He doesn't need to be like me and work like I do. But we'll see if it happens.
You tell us about family life in the summer then in Italy with Ziggy, who's how old? Ziggy? 4?
He's 5.
5.
He was 5 in July. Yeah.
So what does a summer look like for the White family?
Certainly not perfect. I think the Instagram perfect summer holiday does not happen. So every year that Ziggy's been around now, we've had a very different summer. So obviously when you've got a little baby, they need different things from you, and growing up to a 5-year-old, he technically needs less from us. He needs a different version of me, but also the business has demanded different things from me throughout all of these years as well. So the first summer we went for 6 weeks, and he was almost 1, and it's changed. So this summer we went for a really long time. We went for 4 months.
Amazing.
And it was probably too long. Lesson learnt. But we wanted to try out being there for quite a long time, and because we had so many weddings, we decided couldn't be away from my family that long, would hate it, so let's just all try and go. So we did, and Ben was allowed to work from Italy, and Ziggs just came along for the ride. And he had
living the dream.
He was living the dream. He was basically
did he come back speaking Italian?
He doesn't speak Italian, but he talks to himself, and he in like his version of whatever he thinks Italian is, and his accent is on point. It's amazing. He just goes around blah 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 blah.
That's right.
Lovely, but by the end he was feral. He literally just wore his pants around. He was so tanned, and he had it was just gorgeous. He had a different life experience, because we took him out of school for 2 months that he should have been at school. But he this summer he learned to swim really well, and all the things that we got to go and do, and being in nature every day, and it was amazing. But it was
you only get that time once, don't you? Really?
I think so.
It's before you know it, they're 10 and glued to an iPad and don't want to talk to you.
Well, I have to be honest, the iPad, it became more of a thing in our lives this summer, because we, it's quite hard to arrange childcare and things like that when we were in Italy. So there was a lot of juggling. Some days I was getting up at 5 so I could work till 10, when Ben would then start his work day, which would finish at 6, and then so I'd be with Ziggy while he worked, and then I'd work again till 10. So that's the reality of this, what looks like being out there in Italy, but compromises, but you've got to do it. You've got to get up and be consistent and
graft,
get it done.
One of my questions to you was, what batteries are you running on? Genuinely, when I talk to you and I see what you're doing, I'm genuinely amazed at how you can just kind of keep operating at the level that you do.
I am waiting for the burnout.
So driven.
That's not funny.
So many.
You really
just
are.
Don't stop.
Really are.
But it's also massively inspiring, because I feel a bit the same. I'm always moving and doing something. I think it's kind of like we said with Josh, who was here the other week, about being creative. There's always this kind of on the go mentality of got to keep going, got to keep trying things, got to keep moving. And
I don't know why. I think it's definitely something to do with what happened to my brother. I do think when you've experienced a life event, or you see how close death is, it's very morbid, but it makes you go, oh gosh, I've got a life, I've got to live it, I've got to go for
something
it.
else, isn't it?
So that did definitely make me.
They're a wake up moment, aren't they, as well? A little bit.
Yeah, and maybe, you know, and it's gone the other way. Like there were times when I did overextend myself because I was just, you know, worried about time and things running out. But now I think I found a balance. But I mean, I am very efficient. I know I can just get a load of stuff done quickly and easily. But the rest of it is just, I do wonder, like with colitis as well. And I'm like, medically, I shouldn't really be able to do all this, but I don't know.
Right.
Yeah, that's incredible, absolutely incredible.
And your favourite gelato?
Stracciatella. It's stracciatella. It's like the vanilla-y with it's basically if you crush up a choc ice. You know, like when you were little, did you ever crush up chocolate and milk? It's like that, but so much better. And actually, no, this summer we had one. It was an orange latte with chocolate crushed up in.
Did it have some Aperol in there?
Well, no, that's another thing. Aperol is my favourite thing.
Yeah, of course.
But when you come over to Italy this summer coming, I'll take you to the actual best ice cream place you can.
I think we asked Josh about this. What do you make of the Aperol trend at the moment? The Negroni trend. What was it called? The Stracciatella. Similar thing, but Negroni, but with Prosecco.
Oh my God, I didn't know it was a thing. Just do it the right way. Just do it properly.
Yeah.
Don't mess around. Yeah.
Any sort of like trends that you're seeing within the wedding industry in Italy, or?
I'll be honest, it's a shit show. It's all
not
gone.
The answer I was expecting. Okay.
No. Trends, I mean, sadly, the main trend is that people are spending more. And that's partly out of necessity, but I think partly I just notice people generally seem to want to commit more money to their weddings now. Weddings have become even more of an event in life, and maybe especially COVID
after. Exactly.
I want to spend more on this. I want to have this experience, and because in Italy it's usually at least 3 days, it genuinely is like buying a holiday and having a truly like one-off. When are you going to be with everyone for 3 days ever again? So just kind of going for it more in the whole sense, and making weddings as kind of as much of an experience as possible. A lot of people say we want to have a wedding, but really we want to just kind of be with everyone for 3 days, and then we just happen to have a wedding in the middle of it.
Yeah.
But then they still go massive on that wedding and and big. Yeah, and just more fun. Everyone wants a fun element. You know, what can we do that's different? What can we add in that's, you know, really fun or really going to surprise our guests and something they'll never see before? So again, the experience of like sitting down and being like, this is the best table I've ever sat at. This is the best dinner I'm ever going to have. All of those things, they want it to be the best.
As a photographer, I very much feel like, I get to connect with my couples quite a bit, really, in the sense of you are there and you're invested in their day, aren't you? But you as a wedding planner, you're almost there from the beginning. How do you find that connection, and sort of like, do you like become best friends, and how does it work for you? Is it quite hard to let go at the end as well?
I think about like the pressure as well. Like, do you like, because obviously couples have this expectation, don't they? I'm just thinking now about like being in your boat. Like, how would I feel? I think, how do you handle that pressure of?
I always get told
sure that you can deliver.
Yeah, I mean, I always get told that I look very calm, and I think I probably do. Inside, not always, and it is actually quite an internal fight, because I'm an oversharer. I like to make friends with people and connect, but equally, in this job you have to have some sort of boundaries, because otherwise you know, and it's no fault of the couples, but whatever you let happen will continue. So like access to you at certain times and things like that. But I just seem to, I don't know if we just attract the right people, because we are, you know, I'm there on Instagram. They are going to like me or hate me. They're going to either be like, that she's not for me, or she is, so we'll have a call with her. But we just sort of get people, and Danielle has this as well, like this, I don't know if it's empathy or something there, that okay, we get each other, and
you're my people,
and I'm gonna like this next 2 years of our lives planning with you, and again, I think I said earlier about expectations. As long as we've managed their expectations, everything is okay. But that's where the pressure comes. It's not even the wedding, it's that at every moment, have we been as clear as we can about from the start what's going to happen on this planning journey, what they're going to go through, what they're going to get from us, because if any of that's unclear, that's where the dangers lie. And then obviously on the wedding day we do so much to try and explain how that's going to be and what they're going to experience, and make sure that it, as close as possible, can match, so that again there's no sort of disappointment. And that's probably taking on a bit too much on us, because really you've got a set of deliverables of what your job is and you could just do it. But I want them truly to have a really good time, and I get a bit maybe too into that sometimes. I care too much, and that's where I have to sort of look after myself. But the friend thing, we get on really well with, become friends with, and it is weird when it ends, because that is it. We've kind of got no reason to talk to them anymore, and seem a bit weird if you do keep trying to talk to them. Hi guys.
I think you're really good at that.
What's that?
Just carrying on relationships with your couples.
Yeah.
From what I've seen anyway.
Yeah, I keep in touch with a lot of them, just on, I always follow them.
Yeah.
I always just reach out or still tag them 2 years down the line. I'll reshare an image and stuff. So I think it's important to have those relationships. But
it's quite amazing for you, because you're not just there for a day. You build it before. But
but it is. I think weddings are very unique, aren't they? You are in a like a pressure cooker kind of environment of a day that is unbelievably intense, and we'll spend 8, 9, 10 hours with a couple, and you feel like you've known them all your life. I come away from most weddings feeling like I've known them for 20 years. But actually, when you think about what a wedding is, it's about that journey of each couple, each individual, and they're coming together. You hear all the stories, you hear all of the memories that they've shared, and like you just come away feeling. I think you do if you have a certain level of empathy and awareness. Yeah. Some people don't have that, and I think that's where they often kind of maybe fall short. I think one thing that we're good at is that we do connect with people because we have that awareness and that empathy towards our couples, to be able to kind of just connect with them on a level that's way above just being a supplier.
Yeah, and that's something that annoys me about kind of the Italian market. One of my things that I want to bash out, but is they are people. They're having one wedding, and they are individuals. They're not a number. They're not another wedding. They're real people, and they're only going to do it once. So bloody treat them like it. And it frustrates me a lot when that doesn't happen. And I think we are wedding planners, obviously, but I don't really think we are wedding planners. What we are is we're taking them on this kind of 2-year journey, and we're kind of supporting them in a way emotionally as well as they go through it, because they don't know what they're doing. They don't know how to make decisions. They don't know how to choose the right things for them, all of this stuff. And then they happen to have this wedding at the end. But actually, it is more about all of that other stuff that happens. And in those 2 years, stuff happens. People get sick, people die, and you experience all of that, and you do all of that with them, which makes the wedding day even more amazing and incredible. But
and the reason that people would have a wedding planner as well, am I right in saying that, because I've experienced this a little bit, maybe not to the level that you will have experienced it, but when you go to weddings abroad, a trap that people often fall into is that the venue or the supplier will just rock up and go, oh, you that's extra, and it's on the day. But they're like, no, if you want those chairs, you have to pay for those. It's like, well, I've got the venue, surely I get the chairs. How often is that? Is it quite a frequent thing? Is it quite synonymous with Italy, or is it just generally a destination? I'm sure that must happen in France as well.
So I don't really
basically
know.
Give us a juicy story. Come on.
Okay, so I don't know about other countries, because I genuinely don't have a clue. I probably should. But how it works in Italy, I think it's just communication, and it's so simple. Like, if you've got costs and all these extra things, just put them in the bloody contract, and then everyone knows how everything works. But that does happen, and I
suppose the grey area is that couples wouldn't know to ask for those costs, would they, or details? They would just assume.
Right.
And
so
I suppose when you assume,
you go into it on your own. Well, me and Danielle, literally, our number one thing is never assume.
Yeah.
Because when we've made mistakes, it's always been an assumption that one of us has done something, anyway, never assume. So a lot of the time, I almost just wish there was like a template that all venues had to fill in, which is kind of La Lista, but fill all these things in, and then we know everything, and then people can make informed decisions. It's when I'm going to do it on my own. Okay, cool, you can. go and find a venue. I'm going to go on this one. It doesn't really do weddings often, but it looks good. Cool. Okay, you book it. But because they don't do weddings often, they haven't thought about it very much. The venue haven't. And then they get further down the line and the venue are like, hang on, I'm going to have to do some extra cleaning. That's going to be 500 quid. I'll tell the couple. Okay, so then they just randomly get asked for another £500, and then another thing and another thing. And now I think, my friend told me I should charge commission for this. So, okay, now I want to try and arrange the catering, because then I might get 10% commission. And this has genuinely happened to a couple recently, Helena and Blair, who used La Lista at the back end of their planning and tried to do it on their own. But all these stories she told me about this venue, and it happened. And it happens all the time. And you think you've asked the questions, you think you're doing the right thing, but things just happen and get added and added and added, and you kind of lose control. And because you don't know where the power sits, you don't want to lose the venue, you don't want to upset the venue.
My favourite one from a destination wedding was a venue that supplied chairs, but on the day told the couple that you don't get chair cushions, you just get the chair frame. But if you want the cushions, they're an extra.
Yeah.
And you're like, is this a joke? No, they're deadly serious.
That's so normal.
But it's almost this approach, and I'm not saying it, not every venue's like this. I know this is, you could talk about this in any industry.
Yeah.
It's that approach of, we've got them now, we've got them here. Over a barrel. They're not going anywhere. If they want it, they're going to have to pay for it.
I had a scenario this summer where I was at a venue, which is a very well-known venue, and it's amazing and beautiful and whatever, and we'd postponed the wedding 3 times, and we were finally having it, and we were like, it's wicked, we're here. Got to the venue, and I was doing it on my own. Danielle was somewhere else, and literally they were like, Lucy, if you don't book this room and sleep in it for €600, I'm going to make your life really hard at this wedding tomorrow. So I did it, because I was like, there was almost nothing I could do. Like, if I hadn't done that, or how do I handle it? I'm not going to tell the couple, because then they're going to think there's problems. I'm not going to, if I don't do it, they're going to make my life really hard tomorrow. They might not do something. They might just not put the bar out.
But this is for yourself.
Yeah. So I just sucked it up, and I argued, and then when I realised it was not going to happen, I was like, fine, I'll take the suite. So I did, and it was all right. It was nice air conditioning. I managed to work out, because I was cold for once in 40 degrees heat, but it was unbelievable. So literally, bribery. If you don't do this, we're going to make this really hard for you. And that's partly a COVID problem. Like, they probably weren't making enough money. But that's their responsibility. They hadn't put their prices up. They hadn't charged us correctly. And eventually afterwards, I did tell the couple, once the wedding was done and it was brilliant, I was like, they did this, and I don't want you to know, I don't expect you to pay for it, but just you need to know. And the bride paid me back, and she was like, it was all amazing, you shouldn't have to pay for it, here you go. But and now that venue, screw them, won't be going there again. It's just craziness, but that is common, that type of thing.
Short-term gain, long-term pain.
Yeah, that's
they
it.
Cost you now as a supplier. Shame on them, but anyway.
I know these have been sort of like the harder things about your job, but what's sort of like favourite things about what you're doing?
I love overall how creative it is. The fact that you can bring, with every element that you choose, you are being creative. You are creating a unique experience, and I love that. And I think it's underrated how every different person and element can make that. So you two would create different weddings. The atmosphere that you create as photographers, the way you shoot it, everything would make the wedding day different. So I like connecting with the couple, getting that, and then making it happen. But the best bit is just being there, because couples cannot understand how good it is until they're in it. And when they're in it, they're like, fuck, this is so good. And we're like, yeah, I know. I've known for 2 years, and it's really hard to tell you how good it is. But now you're here and you're doing it, and, amazing. So it's the watching it happen and seeing people experience it is just, unfortunately.
That must be incredibly rewarding when you've been so invested for such a period of time.
Yeah, you very much sit back, look at what I've created in some ways.
It's when I have my spritz, actually. Or it's when I have the spritz after the ceremony.
When does that kick in?
It's after. So we have the ceremony. They've got married. Sometimes it's civil. So we've done it. They're married. And then we've checked everything. Everyone's happy. They're eating. We've gone and checked the table's finished. Right, we can have a spritz. And we stand there and we have our spritz. And we're just like, we've done it. And we haven't done it.
It's probably a great feeling.
No, it's good. And that spritz, it kicks. It has a little kick, and it's good. And then crack back on. We usually get about 3 minutes, and something happens, and we have to go and do it. But it's that moment. Yeah. So I love it. I want to be back in sunny Italy having a spritz. So.
Left field question. But what's the best band you've seen in Glastonbury?
That's really weirdly just brought up a memory of having an argument with my friend about this at Glastonbury, and we were so drunk we stormed off with each other. It's not a band, and it's also a left field answer. One of my best memories is watching Stevie Wonder.
Wow.
Because I was very drunk and I just cried a lot because I couldn't believe how amazing he was. What an inspirational man. But that was I've seen Beyonce there. I mean, she's my favourite. Yeah.
How many times have you been to Glasgow?
I don't even know. 3 or 4 times. I used to go when I worked for Oxfam.
Yeah.
We used to go for 10 days. We used to go and set everything up and do the...
Oh, it's a perk of the job, isn't it?
Well, no, it was... I couldn't do it now. I couldn't sleep on an airbed now for 10 nights.
Imagine that.
But we loved it. We moved in and you had a separate campsite and then you got there before everyone else.
That's how you get your Glasgow ticket.
Yeah, that's it.
I'm applying for jobs at Oxfam.
Oxfam volunteering. Yeah. It's a good gig. And it was amazing. They were like they were the heyday. Heyday of life. Yeah. Glasgow days.
Can I ask you about networking and support? And something that I think we have quite a bit of here is, and this is coming from, we spoke recently about just kind of seeking help and advice from you about my business. Like there were things that are in there in the back of my mind. I'm like trying to figure them out and piece things together. And within 2 or 3 minutes of talking to you, you basically made my mind up, and I was like, yeah, okay, I need to do that. So how when you're in business and you're self-employed, how vital and important is that kind of that support group or network of people around you, and how do you kind of control who's in that group?
I still don't really have a big group, and I think that's somewhere that I've held myself back. I think I kind of probably had imposter syndrome for too long, and it kept me quiet and kind of not doing this. And the moment that has changed, which is mainly 2020 really, it's changed everything, because it's absolutely invaluable. Other people going through similar experiences but that have different skills or knowledge that you can just tap into and call up and that genuinely care about you. So I'm having a bad day, I don't know what to do, someone's there and wants to help and answer it. It's unreal, the level of support. And I think I'm still just building that. I've always been someone I've got a few really good friends, and I think that's probably how it will be in business as well. A few people that really connect with,
the select
really get
chosen ones.
Yeah, but no, I'll see. There's loads and loads and loads of amazing and inspiring people out there. So yeah,
I think it's just about not keeping yourself to yourself all the time, isn't it? Just being able to reach out to
and stay
the
in
right kind of people as well, and knowing when to cut someone or a group out of your life, because they bring one thing we see in our industry quite a lot is just negativity in Facebook groups, and it's you've just got to get yourself out of them. Just leave them. Don't need it.
There's a couple of Italian wedding planner groups, and I mean, it's the other thing is it's a lot of noise. It's how much noise do you want, and what noise do you want coming in? Like you say, the negative just needs this very specific support maybe, and that's where I'll get it. And but also coaching, something I know you're not sure about having a coach, but when we've talked, but I've had the odd coach, and I've had the wrong coaches, but at the moment I've got a particularly good one. Shout out to Nikki. I think it's taken me a long time to find the support I really needed, and she is it. And that is unreal.
What does she bring to you?
Well, she's a very different style of coach. So she's called Thrive and Life Business, and what she's actually doing is going really deep. So she gets to know you and all your issues, but then works out how they apply to your business. And that's what I need, because I know that there's so many limiting beliefs and things that are holding me back. So working with her, I mean, it's only been a few months, but it's amazing. And so that specific support is incredible, and genuinely I know it will be a game changer for me over time. It's quite hard to work that out though. Like I say, I've done different things and they've been wrong at times, and it's just, I guess it's again sort of insight, but from yourself, your gut instinct, who's there, what do I need, and trying to work that out. It's tricky. Yeah.
Would you ever get a coach?
I've talked to Lucy about it a few times. I think I would. I find it hard to, if I'm being brutally honest, I find it hard to justify the expense, I think, at the moment.
So my argument is...
I know exactly what you're going to tell me.
Here I am. But what's more, self-development, your self-awareness and self-development are the thing that will change your business the most. Yeah. So they're the thing that you should invest in the most.
Yeah. I'm surprised you're saying that, because...
Yeah. My excuse, and I'm not for a second saying I'm not right or wrong here. I'm just saying, I genuinely feel as though I have around me, and you guys are both included in this, I have 4 or 5 people that I know I can go to and say, right, I've got this problem or this idea, what do you think? And I always get like a really honest opinion.
And I think as well, here's one of your strengths as well. You're good at sort of like reading a situation, explaining it, and sort of like listening to other sort of people's perspective. You're quite good at that.
Yeah.
Right.
Whereas a coach usually tends to dig in deep and try and get things out of you, but I think that you in yourself.
So you're saying I need a coach?
No. No, I think one of your strengths is you self-analyze quite well.
Yeah.
Whether you know what you want to do with that self-analysis, that's a completely different story. But you self-analyze quite well.
I can absolutely see the benefit of a coach. I genuinely can.
But at the right time and the right coach, it doesn't, I don't think someone should always have a coach. And I had a really long break for 2 years recently from therapy and coaching, because I was like, I'm just done talking, I'm done thinking. Yeah. I just, when it's the right time to have someone again.
It doesn't feel the right time, partly as well because this space and this, what I've done here and what we're doing now as well, is putting in so much time and finance to get up and running that actually I don't feel that comfortable with spending money on a coach at the moment when I've spent money here. But in a year or two's time, once we're settled and maybe things are kind of coming in again, then maybe that will be the next step. And like, how do I take it to the next?
But you also know what you're doing, so you might feel just really confident in what you're doing. So you're like, I don't need support right now. And then at a time you might think
I have called you up recently, and gone, I don't know what I'm doing. So
but you do. You just needed to be told that you do.
Sometimes, just going back to weddings in Italy, I think there'll be plenty of people listening to this that have probably got a desire to kind of work out in Italy, either as a supplier. What would you say is, if you could talk to somebody that wants to work with Wiskow White, what would your advice be to that supplier or individual? How do they start that relationship or reach out to you? Or
I see a lot of people kind of moan about this and say, like, don't just email me, don't just DM me. But I don't mind. Just say hi, make it like, relatable. Just act like you have read my name or something. But like, I will look at those emails that come in and I might not always have time to reply or immediately or even reply at all, but I'll click and look at that photographer because I'm like, good for you. You sent that email. I struggle to do that. Well done. And I'll have a look and, see whether they fit or not. But for me, it's obviously what my client needs first. So many people won't be relevant because it's very specific what we're looking for. But I think it's always the advice you give as well. Just start, like, go and shadow another photographer even that's working in Italy. Like, that's what Ben's going to do, husband Ben. We'll go and ask one of our photographer friends if you can pop along to the wedding, and they'll probably be like, no, you're really annoying. I've got one with you in
August, we can do that.
Right, so
come to that any day.
Why not? Like, how can I help you? I'd love to come to an Italian wedding. Can I just come along? Can I help a bit? Or, things like that. Just like you always say, get the pictures or get the content however you can. Go and offer it for free. There's enough couples out there that will snap your arm off if you say, I'll take even $1,000. Like, don't do it for free. I personally think everyone's worth something, but $1,000, that is so reasonable these days. And you might get a wedding, and then you've shown that you can do Italian weddings, and people do like to see that. Even though I believe you can shoot anything anywhere, couples do like to know you've done an Italian wedding. Yeah. So just go and do it.
Just do it.
Go to Italy.
Will you come and style mine and Igor's destination workshop next year? We haven't.
Where's it going to be?
In Tuscany.
In Tuscany or Puglia?
Probably Puglia.
Yeah, I'd love to go back to Puglia.
We need some beach, don't we?
Yeah,
why Puglia?
Where would we go?
Is it for photographers?
Yeah.
But what's more relevant though? Do they want to show pictures of Tuscany to their audience? More weddings happen in Tuscany.
Puglia's popping now.
It's getting more popular, but it is just kind of more people Tuscany. Yeah. So anyway, when you need a venue, recommendations?
La Lista.
Go on, La Lista.
That's where we go.
No, seriously, thank you so much. Like, today has been amazing. Just to really pick your brains and see how you work and just your journey as well. It's quite incredible, really. And yeah, we always appreciate it.
Massively. And I find it really inspiring as well. I genuinely do.
Thank you.
Yeah. We like to finish off with one question. So, the 14-year-old Lucy.
Oh, poor her.
Here we go.
If you were to speak to her today and give her some advice, what would you say?
Just trust yourself. Trust your gut and just go with it. See what happens, because you'll be right. Yeah, simple.
Yeah, trust your gut. Yeah.
And we could all do that more, can't we?
Yeah, definitely.
I think we all always know, but other things cloud it. So just get rid of that noise.
Yeah. Get rid of the noise and trust your gut.
And where can people find Lucy White? What are the accounts they need to go and check out? What are the accounts they need to just tag you in and share and shout out for their story that they're going to tag you on right now?
Thanks, guys. At Wiskow White is the planning, and at _La Lista is La Lista.
If you haven't been to look at La Lista, you really people need to go and check it out, because it's a stunning site. I can totally see why you've got the levels of engagement you've already got on it, because it's just unbelievably valuable.
Thank you.
And I'm so excited to see where that goes over the next year or two.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Big things.
Thank you for your support in making it happen.
I've got one thing. Carry on chatting.
I was going to ask, any sort of you kind of have said it already, but any sort of future plans that you are excited about?
Yeah, I am just so excited for this coming year. What is he doing? Now that I've got headspace and I feel really calm and confident about the wedding planning side, just being able to make La Lista happen. Yay!
Sam is eagerly standing with glasses.
So for those of you that are watching or whatever on YouTube, we've got a bottle of champagne here.
We look
so Lucy bought this the other week when she came.
You finally got the champagne out, eh, Sam?
Yeah.
It's not Prosecco.
No, it's not Prosecco. Lucy.
I bought it.
Wow, we're bringing the French into the Italians.
Lucy.
And you're not bringing Prosecco.
I've got champagne, Igor.
I know.
Yeah.
No, Igor, I bought it for Sam.
Yeah.
I wanted to buy Prosecco because we all know that it's better than champagne.
Thank
I
you very
thought
much.
he'll make a loud, he'll go on about it, so I'll get champagne.
Do I pop it?
That's the base.
So this is your...
Do that? No, I shouldn't do that. It'll go through the ceiling, won't it? No, shall I do it?
Into the gym.
Wow.
So yeah, Lucy bought this and I was like, it feels only fair and fitting that when she's up here in a few weeks' time that we have a little drink, and it's kind of like a little Christmas party for us as well, isn't it?
Oh, it's our little Christmas party.
There's a few people in the office that are waiting to go for the Christmas party, so we need to just...
I think it has officially started.
We need to get this mocked up as well. I've made a bit of a dog's dinner of that.
Yes,
but
you have.
It's fine.
Let's
just wrap the episode up. Let's do a cheers with a tiny little bit of champagne.
Grazie.
Thank you very much.
Well done, you guys. You've smashed it.
Brilliant 2022.
Delivering.
And big things in 23. Looking forward
to the most iconic couple you know.
Use it.
Thanks, Lucy. Love you.
Thank you.
Love you guys.
You're amazing.